only once or twice we
Good
didn't get
evening
paid.
and welcome. We'd like to welcome you to the January board meeting of Alamance Burlington Board of Education. In our audience tonight, I see Bob Bird and Amy Gailey, our commissioners. Thank you so much for being here. Let's see, did I miss any other elected officials or special guests? Okay, great. Well, thank y'all for being here tonight. So just very quickly, I want to remind everyone that this meeting may be seen on Spectrum Channel 5 and 10 every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and every Saturday at 10 a.m. So should you like to revisit any of our meetings, you can find them online at our website, or certainly this meeting will be aired on Wednesday and Saturday. At this time, we are going to take a moment of silence, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Ms. Patsy Simpson.
Will we stand for the pledge, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Board members, we only have one brief change in the agenda, and that is that item D will not, we did not have our student guest this evening, which is where Dr. Harrison will introduce them, so we will be moving past that and comments towards the end from both board and superintendent. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Steve. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. You've had an opportunity to read through the board minutes. Is there a motion on the floor to accept the minutes as written?
So moved.
Thank
Second.
you. Thank you, Patsy. Thank you, Mark. Is there any discussion or corrections to the minute that anyone noted? Great. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. We have several items on consent. You can see them there. May I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So move.
Thank you, Steve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. Is there any discussion? Great. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. And at this time, we'll call on Miss Jenny Faulkner for recognitions.
Good evening. Welcome to our first board meeting for January 2018. It's good to be back in the swing of things and back on a regular schedule. First, we'd like to invite Mr. Emmett Alexander and Ms. Tracy Pennington, if they would please come forward.
Good job.
Drop the mic.
Go home now.
Turn this on. Is there a trick? Would that be the select button? Help me out.
Did you?
I don't see
How do we supposed to
Did
turn
you
that
wreck
on
it?
for her?
There you go. All right. So, Mr. Emmett Alexander, over there on the left, was named back in October the 2018 Alamance Burlington Schools Principal of the Year. And let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Alexander and why he is so special and near and dear to our hearts. He earned his Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Exceptional Children's Licensure from North Carolina A&T State University. He has his Master's in School Administration from UNC Chapel Hill. And since 2006, he's been in a school administrative position at Cummings High School as an assistant principal and also currently as a principal. And under his leadership, listen to this, Cummings has shown consistent increases in school performance 4 consecutive years of earning high academic growth, the top 5% in academic growth in North Carolina, and last year, 2016-2017, demonstrated the highest academic growth for traditional public high schools in North Carolina. And nomination letters for Mr. Alexander for this accomplishment highlighted his collaborative approach and his talent for empowering others to be leaders and assume leadership roles. They described how he initiated collaboration among all the Cummings High School schools in the zone to discuss ways to best serve students and their families. Mr. Alexander, here's a comment that was from his nomination record. Mr. Alexander looks beyond Cummings to serve the community as a whole and recognizes the importance of family and community systems for all ABSS students in their lives. His actions encourage others to do the same to best serve our families. He plants seeds and makes connections that impact not just entire families, but an entire region of our district. And another writer said, Mr. Alexander gets buy-in from his staff. All staff members, regardless of their position, work together to help students achieve success. Our innovative initiatives are approved and applauded by Mr. Alexander. The staff at Cummings knows that we have the green light to be innovative and try new ideas. Our motto is second to none, and Mr. Alexander creates an environment where students and their academic success are first and foremost. So, Mr. Alexander, congratulations to you for being named the district's Principal of the Year for 2018.
On behalf of the board, we want to congratulate you. It's such an honor and such a joy to watch you lead at Cummings High School, so thank you for what you do every single day to make sure our students are successful. Do you have some Cummings representatives here tonight with you? Either staff, family? Y'all stand up, because y'all work hard too. There's some Cummings. There you go. Would you like to say a few words? And he says, no, thank you. That's a good leader. He's just going to lead on.
Don't go anywhere, Mr. Alexander. You stay right there, okay? Next, I want to talk to you about Tracy Pennington, who was named our 2018 Alamance-Burlington Schools Assistant Principal of the Year. Let me tell you a little bit about Ms. Pennington. She is at Elon Elementary, serving as AP. She earned her Bachelor of Arts from Lehman College of the City University of New York. She earned her master's in school administration and as an educational specialist doctoral cohort from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. She's been with us since 1993. She has served in many roles as a teacher of exceptional children at AO. She's been a classroom teacher for 2nd and 4th grades at East Lawn. She's been a technology teacher, an academic coach, curriculum facilitator at North Graham, and currently is AP at Elon since 2012. She's been instrumental in the school's global initiative and earning the North Carolina Global Ready Schools designation just earlier this school year. In letters of nomination, Ms. Pennington was lauded for her ability to work with others and her leadership skills. It was noted how well she and Mr. Davern worked together. One individual said, "I have never witnessed a principal and assistant principal who worked together so well. It is obvious." Because of that, they are able to inspire a common shared vision and inspire staff to excellence. Another comment that highlights why she's worthy of this award: she values others' ideas and welcomes them in the spirit of collaboration. She is what I would call a spinner. She's one who you can bounce ideas off of her when you're working on a project or a plan. And finally, Ms. Pennington expects excellence for all students. With her strong background in working with special needs children, this is always forefront in her mind when she is on the quest for excellence for all students. With her very professional background, she has a wealth of knowledge that is always helpful to our staff. So, Ms. Pennington, congratulations on being named the 2018 Alamance-Burlington Assistant Principal of the Year.
do you happen to have either family or staff with you this evening? Maybe your principal, there's our principal, there's our family, stand up, family, students, there we go. You work hard too. Thank you.
And we have a special recognition tonight. We have Ed Skelly from Horace Mann Insurance to come forward. He has a special presentation for the both of you.
Good to know a bit more. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Well, I just want to congratulate both of y'all. Job well done for this year on behalf of Horace Mann and our local agency. We just want to present a check for $500 to the school. Sorry, I'm not ready. And yeah, a gift card for dinner for two. And an umbrella.
I'm glad you didn't bring snow boots.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Congratulations again. Next, I'd like to ask 4 very important teachers to come forward that earned National Board certification recently. They are Ashley Brandt from B. Everett Jordan Elementary, James Cutler from South Mebane Elementary, Alexandra Navarre from Pleasant Grove Elementary, and Maggie Rudd from Southern Alamance Middle. So let me tell you what's so special about earning National Board certification. First of all, it's voluntary. Nobody asked these folks or told these folks to do this. They did this on their own. And the National Board for Professional Teaching Standards is an independent nonprofit organization. It's been around about 30 years. And its mission is to advance the quality of teaching in the United States. They've created this voluntary system of certifying teachers who meet national standards. Board certification is available in 25 different certification areas across 16 disciplines. And these 4 individuals tonight, they represent 4 of those different certificate areas. The mission of the organization is to advance teaching and raise the level of awareness of what it means to be a professional, nationally certified teacher. When you think about someone who's a CPA taking that CPA exam, or a doctor who has to pass the medical boards, or an engineer who has to pass those boards, this is the same sort of professional certification. It's a very intensive and self-reflective process. It takes 2 to 3 years. I don't know what your experiences have been, but it's almost the equivalent of earning a graduate degree. So congratulations to Ashley, who earned her generalist in early childhood, Ashley Brandt from B. Everett Jordan. James Cutler. James Cutler from South Mebane Elementary, who earned physical education early and middle childhood. Alexandra Navarre from Pleasant Grove Elementary, she earned generalist middle childhood. And Maggie Rudd from Southern Middle, who earned English Language Arts early and middle adolescence. We have a plaque for each of you and a National Board certified computer bag. Please carry that proudly. Ashley? Mr. Cutler.
Oh, hello.
Alexandra?
Oh, they're well trained, aren't they? Congratulations.
And Maggie? Congratulations. Would one of you like to say something about this process, or is your family here tonight to jump up and down that you're done with it?
So family and principals representing schools and any staff that are here to support these fabulous teachers, please feel free to stand up. Look at that. Thank you.
They're all going, no, no.
Well, on behalf of the board, we congratulate you. This is a true testament to your passion for teaching. So, again, you're our heroes. You're my heroes, because I certainly wouldn't do what you do every day. So thank you for stepping into that classroom and making a difference. Congratulations to each of you.
Congratulations. Next, I'd like to ask Miss Lori Hall from Western Middle if she'll please come forward. Ms. Hall teaches exceptional children at Western Middle School, and she was recently named the 2017 North Carolina Teacher of Excellence, which is an award given by the Public Schools of North Carolina, the Exceptional Children's Division. So back, was it November that you went to the North Carolina Council for Exceptional Children's Conference? She was presented with the award, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about why she was so deserving of this. She's been a teacher of exceptional children in ABSS for more than 10 years. She served as the department chair at Western Middle for this department for at least 8 years. Maybe that's going on 9 now. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Art Education from Asbury College in Kentucky and Master's of Education in School Guidance from Eastern Kentucky University. She holds North Carolina professional teaching credentials in arts, grades K-12, special education, and a school counselor, grades K-12. This prestigious award is given to teachers whose leadership, dedication, and service to extracurricular and non-academic activities, how they have improved the quality of education for exceptional children and youth. In nomination for this award, Ms. Hall was commended for her ability to differentiate instruction for each and every child and for every learner, and her willingness to work collaboratively with general education teachers so she can share her knowledge and effective strategies in their classrooms. She was highlighted as a leader in the classroom, in her school, and for the district. She's a current member of the 3rd cohort of the ABSS Impact Alamance Teacher Leadership Academy. So here are a few comments about her nomination. With Lori's mentoring of numerous teachers based at her school and around the district, she has shared best practices in areas of academics, behavior, and leadership. She exemplifies the holistic approach to education by seeing the whole child and collaborates with school counselors, social workers, and outside agencies to make sure each and every child is getting what he or she needs. She's a strong advocate for students in extracurricular activities, and she makes the effort to go attend those extracurricular activities to show students how much she supports them. She organizes parent nights each spring to help students and their parents gain a better understanding of what will be expected of them in the middle school, high school, and beyond. So, Lori, congratulations to you for this honor, and thank you for representing Alamance Burlington Schools at the state level. Congratulations.
She's wondering if, but do we have anyone representing the school or family tonight? Principal, there we go. Yay!
Recognize that because of the leadership of Julie Boss, Greg Holland, that they want the people who work for them to not just do what's minimally expected, but encourage them to develop their own leadership. So I really appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Next, I'd like to ask Dylan Freeman if he would please come forward. Thank you, Dylan. Please come up right up here. Dylan, I'm so glad you're wearing your shirt today. Dylan is an intern with Project Search at the Alamance Regional Campus of Cone Health. And Dylan's also a Western Alamance warrior, but most importantly, he's an intern at Alamance Regional in the emergency room, I think, which has got to be the busiest place on that campus. So congratulations to you. But we are very proud to announce that Dylan was recognized recently with the Yes I Can Award at the North Carolina Council for Exceptional Children's Conference, the same conference where Ms. Hall received her award. Dylan also received an award. And this is it? Awesome. So Dylan received his award for his exceptional work ethic and ability. There are a multitude of different reasons that students can be nominated for this award, and Dylan was nominated for his work habits. He was nominated for his work ethic, his professional relationships he's built with his coworkers at Cone Health, and the support that he provides to his classmates who are also Project Search interns. He was nominated and selected for this award on the North Carolina state level. Dylan, congratulations to you. We've got a certificate for you. And hope that you've got some family and friends in the audience. Will they please
Mom, Dad, Stella, Principal, staff at Williams, grandparents. All right, Dylan, what's your favorite thing to do in an emergency room that you're in charge of?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Okay, pick one.
That's a very hard one.
May I ask it this way, do you help patients in and out of rooms? Do you change the linens? Do you wipe down for sanitation?
Yes, ma'am.
All of the awesome. We need you because it's flu season right now, so you keep up the good work.
I don't want to catch the...
I know. I would be bad.
So somebody told me that Dylan is really, really good at encouraging his other student coworkers when they do a good job at Coney Health. He's one of the first to say good job. So please keep doing that the rest of your life for everybody that you work with because it's really important.
And you want to say, good job to you. Keep up the good work. Have a good night.
For our last recognition tonight, I'd like to ask our vocalists from Elon Elementary and their teacher if they would please come forward. And that's Nebby Fisher and Kaylin Gallagher and their choral instructor, Miss Joy Rust. So it's always such fun to get to recognize elementary students for doing something that very few peers get to do at the state level. So these young ladies were selected for the 2017 North Carolina Honors Chorus for elementary students by the North Carolina Music Educators Association. So you can imagine there's 115 school districts. You can imagine how many talented vocalists there must be in all the schools in North Carolina. Well, these two young ladies, along with 3 others from Alamance Burlington schools, were selected in this very competitive process. So they performed at a concert at the Stevens Center in Winston-Salem, I think back in November. Is that right? So Ms. Rust, we would love to hear you talk a little bit about that process. How were they selected among all the other singers?
The audition in this digital age, the audition by doing a vocal clip. Everybody that auditions in the state has a certain section of one of the songs that they must perform, and it's totally unseen as far as it's not a video, it's a sound to follow, and they're given a number. So there are 3 college professors from across the state that listen to approximately 900 auditions. Wow. And they were all in the elementary level, so they were either 4th, 5th graders, or if the elementary school went up to and included 6th grade, could possibly be a 6th grader. And then they selected, I believe the number ended up being 175, 180, and we actually had 6 that auditioned, and the other 4 were very close. So it's very competitive, and it's very thrilling, and this is the first year that Elon Elementary has had a month to be able to do that, and so we're very thrilled that it was 2. And then a funny side note that I have to include, I worked with both of their mamas at South Green, and the mamas were pregnant with these kids. So let's talk about a full circle, and that's just really meaningful to me. So do you ladies have family, principals? I know the principals here on stand up now. Can you stand up and be recognized? Y'all are just as important.
Nebby
Fisher.
I'll shake your hand. And Kaylin?
Kaylin Gallagher. There you go. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Real quick, what was your favorite part of singing in the performance? Favorite part, you ready? Think. Good. The fact that I got to perform with so many good singers and in front of such a large crowd. Well, you really didn't need a song. But I made it up. Just singing because it was really fun to learn all the music and stuff. Awesome. I'm so proud of you for representing Elements Burlington and much more success in your singing careers. I won't be singing with you, and that's a good thing. Congratulations, and have a great evening.
At this time, I have one public comment from Erica Johnson. Ms. Johnson, if you will come to the podium.
Yes, probably will be a good idea.
Erica is with ABAE, and I'd like to just simply remind you, you have 3 minutes, and the timer will start once you introduce yourself, and we'll let the crowd quiet down. Very exciting.
Would you have to, Jenny, look up, you know, like all the comments received in Greensboro? When I think Easton got her a few years ago, she had the staff and everybody here. Does she plan to invite their staff to come?
All right.
Recognition.
Good evening. I'm Erica Johnson, and I stand here on behalf of Alamance Burlington Association of Educators. As we embark upon our search for the individual who will ultimately be our fearless leader, we must not forget it is our duty to find someone who values education as much as we do, and also values the children we are here representing. We believe it's important our new superintendent to find value in the input of we the educators working in the trenches. They should not just be willing to hear, but want to hear what we know to be best for our students. The new superintendent should familiarize him or herself with the communities in which our students live. We need a superintendent who sticks to the decisions made, voted on, and announced to the public, and not waver in those decisions to accommodate or please a few students being affected, but consider the overall outcome for the greater good of all students. One who celebrates all schools, not just some, one who will spend equal time visiting all schools. It is important that he or she visits on a regular basis and listens to the needs of the faculty and staff at each school, while allowing teachers to be teachers. The superintendent should be open-minded, fair, and friendly, someone who is personable and isn't afraid to stand up for our educators, willing to stand their ground when dealing with our county commissioners and General Assembly. The superintendent should be culturally diverse. He or she should be aware of the need within the system to hire more teachers who are of other cultures and put forth the effort to train teachers to strategically be effective and build relationships in the environment that they are being assigned. One who's committed and dedicated to recruiting, reclaiming, and retaining highly qualified educators in Alamance County. We would like to have someone in this position who has been a classroom teacher and knows what it is really like to be in the positions that we are in. Teachers include everyone involved in the education of all students. That's from the bus drivers to the custodians, EC teachers, librarians, and guidance counselors, etc. Someone with only administrative experience or political experience truly cannot identify with the needs and expectations of today's school experience. We want someone who will be excited to come into the school and demonstrate great teaching in any classroom at any school. Someone who will actually sit down with school personnel, meaning the people who are in these trenches daily with students, and discuss real issues that matter and come up with viable solutions that can really work. Dr. Joe Sinclair and Dr. Harrison have both been great examples of personable leaders that cared about the whole aspect of our school system. We need a personable leader, and that's what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Very well spoken. At this time, we have a presentation from the North Carolina New Teacher Support Program. Oh, hello. Come on down. And if everybody will just take a moment to introduce yourself when it's time to share with us, that'd be great.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board members, Dr. Harrison. My name is Dean Richardson. I'm the Director of Teacher Recruitment and Induction for Alamance Burlington Schools. I want to share with you a little information about our beginning teacher support program and then provide representatives from North Carolina's new teacher support program to share some of the work we've been doing with our beginning teachers here in the district. On the online agenda, you do have access to our beginning teacher support plan, which saw some pretty significant changes this year. As I transitioned into this role in August, we got a little bit of a slow start because I wanted to make sure that we got off on a solid footing. Taking some feedback from teachers in their second and third year, as well as from principals in the district, we decided to revamp the professional development that we're providing for beginning teachers in Alamance County. Currently, we have 233 teachers in their first 3 years, so that's a pretty big number. In previous years, teachers in their first year went to a set professional development. Those in their second year went to a set professional development, and the same for the third. This year, and you have access to this list as well, we've offered a menu of about 26 different options. So teachers, in collaboration with their assigned mentor, as well as their principals, selected professional development that's tailored to their needs. That way we can really target the support that we're offering because everyone's coming to the table with different needs. Every beginning teacher, as in the past, is assigned a mentor at the school. There's a lead mentor at every school, and additionally supports provided by district personnel as well as principals and assistant principals. We're fortunate through Title II funds and Gear Up funding to offer additional layers at 6 of our schools, 3 middle schools and 3 high schools. And those are Broadview, Cummings, Graham Middle, Graham High, Turntine, and Williams. We partner with the new teacher support program based out of the UNCG region. So at this time, I'm going to turn the actual presentation over to them. If you just give me a second to get the presentation pulled up, I would like to introduce, we have Ms. Christina O'Connor, Patrick Canetta, and Mark Meacham. Patrick and Mark are former Alamance Burlington folks, so they're home folks, I like to say. So I've enjoyed working with them because they have a commitment to our district. So if you give me just a second to pull up their information, and then I will turn it over to them.
They do. Recognize that name. The name's familiar.
There we go.
See a teacher.
Good evening. Thank you for having us. So I'm Christina O'Connor. I'm the Regional Director for the North Carolina New Teacher Support Program out of the UNCG region. The program is actually a program that's operated out of the UNC General Administration in Chapel Hill. It's a statewide program. Dr. Canetta is our statewide director. But we serve institutions, anchor institutions in different parts of the state serve the region. So UNCG's been serving Alamance Burlington schools since the beginning of the program, and I've been the regional director since UNCG came on board. And Dr. Canetta is our state director, and Dr. Meacham is our lead instructional coach for the UNCG region, and he currently is serving exclusively Alamance Burlington schools, has been for a number of years, coaching exclusively in Alamance Burlington, which is great since Mark is a former Alamance Burlington teacher. It's been great to have him here where he has those connections. It's not true necessarily that all of our coaches are lucky enough to be based in a single school district. Often they serve multiple districts. Our program, started under Race to the Top. It's not going here. Sorry, technical difficulties. There we go. So our program began through Race to the Top, and it was an initiative that started out of the UNC General Administration in an effort to have the UNC system schools that prepare teachers take more of a role in the induction process. We know that preparing teachers is something that doesn't begin and end in the 4 years, that they're in an undergraduate preparation program, that they continue to grow and develop. And folks at UNC General Administration felt that it was important for the UNC system schools to continue to have a role in that. And so Race to the Top gave us an opportunity to begin that work. The rationale behind the program lies in the fact that about a quarter of the teacher workforce currently has less than 5 years of experience. And we also know that beginning teachers tend to be significantly less effective in raising student achievement. They're more likely to exit the profession within their first 3 years, and they're more likely to work in our highest need schools. Top that off with the fact that we have a 15% turnover rate in North Carolina among beginning teachers, and that the cost of replacing a teacher is somewhere around $12,500. And we felt that those things were important to address. And so the way we've done that, and Mark's going to share with you a little bit more about exactly how our model works, but we've been fortunate that we've had results that have led the General Assembly to appropriate a recurring line item specifically for the North Carolina New Teacher Support Program that allows us to continue to provide these services in a shared business model with partner districts like Alamance Burlington. So Mark's going to talk with you a little bit about how our program works and what the components are.
So you might ask yourself, well, what does this look like? And we have as our main goal, our organization's main goal, focuses on one key element, and that is improving student achievement. We do that in two key areas. One is by improving teacher effectiveness, and the other is by improving teacher retention. We have three core services that we utilize to do that, and they're up here. One of them is the Fall Institute. It's a kind of instructional boot camp, and the way it works is that we invite all of the beginning teachers that we serve across the state, from the mountains to the coast, literally, to attend one of two geographically convenient locations for a 2.5-day intensive conference-style institute. And if you were a beginning teacher and you wanted to attend these sessions, you wanted to attend this institute, what you would see when you went there is you would be able to go to sessions on effective classroom management. You'd be able to go to sessions that focus on how to create assessments that look really at what it is students can do and understand, and how do we provide effective feedback for those students. That would be a session in and of itself. Another session might be on providing how do we find instructional technology that we can utilize in the classroom. One of our strongest sessions really is on providing a long session where the teachers dive deeply into content area lesson planning with instructional coaches whose expertise area is in that particular content. So I'm a former ELA teacher, so I would be, me and the several other instructional coaches would be with the secondary ELA beginning teachers, really looking at, well, what does a lesson plan really look like that's effective in nature. So those are some of the things you would see at the Institute. Another thing that we provide as part of those three services is we really want to tailor our services to support the unique needs for the district. And so our regional professional development tends to get at that. And what that looks like is we partner with key people in the district, Dean, for example, and we identify what are some of the areas that are really big needs for the beginning teachers in this district. Once we identify those, we locate the types of professional development that would work best for those areas, and we provide 3 professional development sessions across the school year. We invite not just the beginning teachers that we serve, but all of the beginning teachers in the whole district to come out and join us for those sessions. Another aspect that's kind of unique for our program is that we also provide professional development for individual schools. So at one of the schools, for example, that I serve, in speaking closely and working closely with the principal, we decided it would be very useful for us, for me to provide a professional development session that focused on effective lesson planning. And so I delivered that not just to his teachers, he wanted it delivered to the entire school. So we got the entire faculty in there, and we had a really nice session on what does it really look like, and I was able to facilitate that and have the experienced teachers help the new teachers. And it was a really powerful session. Our third key or core service is really one that's perhaps the strongest one, and that is the individualized instructional coaching that we provide. We meet with teachers once a week over the course of the school year, and we do things like observe lessons and provide feedback. We help them write lesson plans. We provide feedback on lesson plans. We even act as sounding boards for the beginning teachers who, as many of us know, it's a really difficult job to come into as a new teacher. We provide, we're like a sounding board for them when they have to share some of the challenging aspects of the job so that someone more experienced can help them sort of make some decisions in that process. Those are the three key services that we provide throughout the year. And those are geared toward those two foci that I mentioned in service of improving student achievement. So I'm going to turn it over to Pat. He's going to tell you a little bit more about our program.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison and the board, for giving us an opportunity to share a little bit about the North Carolina New Teacher Support Program. Like Dr. O'Connor was stating, it began managed out of University of North Carolina, General Administration, and it's grown into a 9-campus university-based partnership in which each of these regions provide instructional support to a myriad of schools and systems across the state. So currently, and this is not quite updated, we've just landed a few additional partners, Asheville City Schools being one, Sampson and Pender being two others, Wilkes County being another, and Bertie as well. So that just gives you an idea of our net of support that our program is able to provide, staying tied very closely to some pretty well-established schools of education around the state and all the resources that are connected to those anchor institutions. Like I said, we're in just over 50 school districts serving over 230 schools and roughly about 1,300 teachers in our current time with supporting first, second, and third year teachers across the state.
Sorry for all the up and down. So Mark shared with you about our instructional coaching, which I really consider to be the bread and butter of our program and really the core of what we do. Our coaching is based on a coaching framework that we've developed based on research and experience. Our coaches work in an iterative process that, of course, starts with context. So all of the coaching is based on an individual teacher's context and situation. Within that context, a coach then selects a coaching activity. Our coaching activities are always based around either planning, instruction, or assessment, or a combination of those. So they're focusing on those core things that are critical to teaching, of planning, instruction, and assessment. They identify an approach based on the needs of that beginning teacher, and a coaching approach might be that we need to work together, or we need to plan together, right? Or it might be, I need to give you some specific strategies because you're a lateral entry teacher and you haven't had that preparation that's going to provide you with the background knowledge that you need. So based on that individual teacher's needs, our coaches identify their coaching approach for a particular day, time, situation. And then they're going to evaluate their progress and identify next steps, which is going to then lead them back to context. So this is our ongoing process around which we coach. It's all informed by a variety of research-based frameworks around coaching, around best instructional practices.
As Dr. O'Connor was mentioning before, what began as a race to the top funded endeavor eventually moved into recurring legislative funding for our program. We receive federal fundings associated with Gear Up. We also receive reoccurring legislative appropriations to support to really supplement the kind of work that we're doing, because it's very expensive to provide this kind of support at the teacher level. So all of that requires some data and reporting and outside evaluators to examine the kind of work and whether or not scaling up is actually in the best interest of the classroom teachers. So our outside evaluators, based upon 14-15 data, came to the following conclusions that are listed on your screen. So the percentage of teachers that we're working with that actually return to teach in North Carolina is at a higher rate than they would have if they weren't receiving North Carolina New Teacher Support Program. So that's the number on the left is pretty important for a state who's preparing teachers, qualified teachers who are capable of increasing or improving student achievement. What's probably more important to your district is the number on the right, where the number of teachers who are returning to the school in which the school system in which they were employed is significantly higher than they would have been returning had they not been supported by a North Carolina New Teacher Support Program. And again, that's data that's evaluated through EPIC. They're our outside evaluator, and we have to report this data both to the federal government and state legislators for continuing and ongoing support of our program. As you can imagine, working with 1,300 teachers, we have an incredibly large data set, and we try to use that data set to inform the ongoing work of our program. So we survey teachers who are participating in our program, and we find that about 80% of the teachers served by our program agreed that instructional coaching helps their confidence, their knowledge, their skills in teaching. We also partner with North Carolina Department of Public Instruction to access the teachers' NESA scores, which is the evaluations performed by their principal. And what we find is that North Carolina teachers who are supported by North Carolina New Teacher Support Program have significantly higher NESIS ratings than that group of teachers who weren't being supported by our program.
So I may have mentioned this earlier, but just in case if I didn't, those meetings we have as an instructional coach with the teachers occur at least once a week. And so this number here where you see 44 visits per teacher, that constitutes the number of visits on average per teacher in the last school year, 2016-2017. And in those visits, those are about 45 minutes each, but they really vary because it's depending on the teacher's needs. And so whereas one week I may spend 20 minutes with a teacher, the next week I may spend an hour and a half or longer because maybe they need more help with instructional planning during that time. What I would like, so this is our data from this year up to January 12th. And as you can see, if we look at the same number, 18 visits per teacher, subtract the snow days, we're on average to hit, hopefully no more snow days, we're on average, we're on track to hit about the same amount of visits per teacher, which is slightly over a visit per week per teacher. And it's roughly about 45 minutes. I wanted to put a lot of these in here. There were so many more I couldn't fit them in, and I hope the type is not too small. This is really where you get at what many people would say is, well, so what? What is the point of this from a teacher's perspective? And here, what we've got are various teachers that we serve in ABSS who have given us some feedback on the benefits of our program. And if you look at the third one down,
they all sort of have some things in common. I would highlight the third one down because what she's focusing on there, in my opinion, is the fact that she can be vulnerable with someone like me, someone who is going to support her. If she's struggling, if she needs to talk about it, she can talk to me about that, and I can help her through that and help her with some instructional strategies or whatever other strategies she may want. That's the power of a comment like that. The fourth one is one that really focuses on not just the support from the instructional coach, but also the fact that we are able to provide them an opportunity to make connections with other beginning teachers and to collaborate with them, which is a really powerful tool for retention and also for teacher effectiveness. There's power in numbers, especially numbers of people who are kind of in the same place where you are, who are getting the same kind of support. This is all about instructional coaching. That was the focus of these comments. This was the focus for this slide particularly is with our Fall Institute. And this is the feedback we've gotten some of the feedback we've gotten for our Fall Institute. The top two are from a couple of teachers in ABSS. The bottom several are from the anonymous survey responses we received when we asked teachers to fill out surveys at the end of the Institute. You'll notice that there's some similarities between the two slides. I love to point out I guess it's third from the bottom, where the teacher said going to the Institute was like finding a treasure chest, opening it and finding all these priceless treasures that you want to share. That's our goal, is to, I guess, to function as a treasure chest at the Fall Institute to provide these resources for them. And I would also point out the fourth one from the bottom, where the teacher felt like she was with seasoned professionals who had actually walked the walk and talked the talk. So we just wanted to provide a little bit of a face with our program to show you some of the feedback we've gotten.
So again, I just wanted to thank you for your time. Just to summarize, we provide induction support for first, second, and third year teachers, which include any lateral entry teachers who may come into your system. We do work with all schools. However, we found that focus and priority schools have access to Title I and Title II funding to provide support for their early career teachers. In addition, Alamance County has been able to mobilize Gear Up funding to support their beginning teachers. This goes back several years ago, but they were providing support for middle school and high school teachers. As you know, that's phasing out. This year is the last year, was supposed to be the last year for Gear Up funding. However, after talking to our statewide Gear Up director, there are still some allotments available for Alamance Burlington to utilize funds to move forward. So it's going to be about half the enrollment that you currently have this year that you're utilizing Gear Up funding to support. There are about half the allotments available for Alamance County to move forward. And there are also, challenges certainly when deciding who to support amongst your beginning teachers throughout the school system. So it might be, important to think about particular content areas that see an increased rate of attrition that may be higher, they may express higher particular needs in those content areas, and we could certainly provide that support through the web of support that we provide throughout the state. I just wanted to pass along Dr. O'Connor's contact information. You certainly know mine as well. I think Dean would probably be the best person to talk to reach us to talk about what our partnership might look like going forward in the future. And I'll be happy to take any questions if we have time.
Board members, anyone have a question or comment?
I've got a comment. One of the first slides shows for teachers if they don't do well and they get discouraged, it's $12,500 to replace them. Several years ago, I asked the person that was in Dean's position to get me some figures, and of course it's higher now because of inflation, but that's very expensive, and if we can cut our attrition numbers significantly, that not only helps us, it helps all of us. And besides that, it gives those teachers the base to move on into their later, to pass the third year. I remember when I started teaching almost 50 years ago, and they gave me a grade book, and they gave me a class list, and in my case, we had some music for the band to play, and that was it. We got very little support. Nobody had time to do it. But thank you for what you're doing.
Absolutely. My
Let
pleasure.
me see if I understand this correctly. You said the North Carolina General Assembly provide funding for your program?
That is correct.
And in addition to that, our local funding, ABSS use Gear Up funding. And when I think of Gear Up, I think of the 5 or 6 schools. So are you saying you only work with those new teachers currently in those schools and not the other
So that's,
teachers?
Right, so, sorry.
Yeah.
Just because I'm familiar with the specific Alamance Burlington situation over the last several years. So Gear Up funds were able to be used. The state funding provides us with about half of the necessary funds to run the program. So local school districts are asked to supplement that, like the other 50%. And in many cases, the school districts are doing that with their state and local funds, with their federal funds in various ways. In districts that had Gear Up, like Alamance Burlington, we were able to serve some additional teachers who were working in those Gear Up locations. So we started out working in Alamance Burlington in 3 high schools that participated in Gear Up, and then the 3 or 4 middle schools. 3 middle schools. And now, as Gear Up, as those cohorts have aged out, we were not able to use Gear Up funds to provide coaching in the middle schools any longer. So I think Alamance Burlington has been using some combination of state and federal, local funds to provide services in some of those high-need middle schools for the beginning teachers. This year we're serving beginning teachers in their first and second years at Graham Middle, Turrentine, and Broadview. So it's up to the local district to decide which teachers, how many teachers they can, they want to support with the shared business model, because the state only provides us with about half of the
Well, that was
funds.
my next question is, I know the assistant principals and principals have a lot of involvement in terms of providing resources for beginning teachers. How do they determine who gets to be in the program, or are you automatic in this program if you meet the criteria of 1 to 3 years as a new teacher?
We work with the individual district to determine that. So Alamance Burlington went through a process. I don't know if Ms. Madron or Mr. Richardson can address how those teachers were selected this year in Alamance Burlington.
Right, I'm kind of looking around for someone from Alamance Burlington to answer the question.
Currently at those 3 high schools, the beginning teachers in their first, second, and third years, all of those beginning teachers receive the support. Okay? And at the middle school, it's the beginning teachers in their first and second year. And the only reason that is we're using the Title II funds for the middle schools, and it came down to a cost.
And I might be able
issue.
to clarify that the teachers in the high schools were supported through Gear Up funding.
Yes.
BT1 through BT3, that phased out of middle school. And so the question was, how do we provide support for the beginning teachers in the middle schools? And ABSS chose to do the BT1s and BT2s at those 3 middle schools to carry that over.
Okay, so now knowing that the Gear Up funding is going to, I guess,
Reduced by 50% in the.
just reduced for this current year, but it was a 5 years.
For 18-19, so
18.
for next school year, yep, it'll be reduced by 50, so there's a 50% reduction in allotment. So this year, we were working with, I think it was 39, so next year you'll have 20 teachers that will be support from the high school in core content areas, math, science, ELA, social studies. First, second, third year teacher.
Is this something then that we as a board have to look at in the near future in terms of supplementing and/or finding funds to continue the program, or will there be additional costs in terms of what resources we can provide to new teachers once the Gear Up funding has...
I think Dean started off showing what he does through his department and what we do locally, so it's not that we're only dealing with these 39 beginning teachers. We're working with all of our beginning teachers. I was just checking, that is on one of the tabs that Dean has, can show you the schedule. To me, what truly differentiates what we're doing here is the quality of the coaching. And I think that these coaches have done a wonderful job. Our academic coaches are carrying some of that weight at our schools where UNCGA is not there. So we'll sit down, we'll work with them about using Title I dollars, Title II dollars is for professional development, and we'll just kind of look at our budget when we develop the budget this year.
Does this cost anything for the teachers?
No.
I would add that even the Fall Institute, the instructional boot camp, we cover the cost of the subs.
That was my next question.
The hotels, the food, and even the travel to and from.
There's no additional cost to the district, other than the...
Even for subs?
Yeah.
We reimburse.
Yeah.
So do we have any local metrics? I know you mentioned about looking at the state level information to see how the teachers that participate in this show different results. Do we have any internal local metrics so we could evaluate that as well?
Not this time, but we can pull something together for you.
The teacher working condition survey has a couple of questions, I believe, that hit beginning teachers particularly. And of course, we looked at the attrition rate pretty closely.
Yeah, I'm just looking at aggregated data of teachers that receive this support.
One last question. The funds that come from the state, is it designated for this particular, I don't know if you are an agency, a nonprofit, or whatever, or is it designated to the district in a big pot, and then we basically decide whether we're going to contract with them?
The general assemblyman he was talking to goes right to general administration to run the program.
And it is a line item specifically for this program. It can't be used for anything else.
Okay.
Anything else from the board? Thank y'all so much. This was so wonderful to hear. Pam Thompson, who unfortunately fell ill this evening, this is really something she was passionate about. So thank y'all for being here. We'll make sure she watches the video. And we'll certainly reach out to Dean and if we have any additional questions. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I believe Dr. Thorpe, you're up next. Dispensation, that one.
Service materials.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Ed, Dr. Harrison. I bring to you a list of surplus materials. As we clean out and move out and try to straighten things, we find stuff that we've accumulated that is beyond repair. The schools have sent it to us and said, do what you want to with it, so we're asking the board to declare it surplus so we can sell it at auction.
Have the board members had a chance to review the listed items? Do you have any questions or concerns on those items?
No, so we're going to go back to having an auction there?
Those are the online auctions.
How's that advertised on the website?
When does it start?
We're setting the determining date. We're working with GovDeals.org now to get us an account set up, get everything listed in the account. Then we will advertise it on our website, and we'll probably for the first time or two we'll advertise that we have stuff on there with the local newspapers just to get the word out. The success of local sales in the past have been limited at best. Other words, they drag a lot of stuff out and nothing's sold and they have to drag it back in. So this way we think we'll open up to a larger audience.
Is it broken stuff or is it just old stuff?
Both. Anything that we could have repaired and used has been repaired and used. What we're down to now is either outdated stuff or stuff that's beyond repair, beyond what we would repair and use it for.
That's what I mean. Is this list provided to the administrators to be provided to the school prior to you determine their surplus? I remember several years ago being involved just a little bit more, and there were teachers and, like at Graham, when they were looking for the lab or whatever, they needed tables and different things, and we would go to the warehouse. Is it made available for others to actually know what's over there?
Yes, ma'am, and we do take folks through if they have a desire for a certain piece of furniture. We will pull them through the warehouses and take them and show them, and sometimes they're more of the salvage stuff, others not, and here recently, we're down to the stuff that most schools don't want.
So if there are no other questions, is there a motion on the floor to accept the presentation for the surplus property to be auctioned off?
So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Steve. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, Dr.
Thank you.
York.
Cassette players.
Okay,
And the rate tracks on there. If the rate tracks of the years are inside the code. Yeah, I was voting against it. Didn't seem to
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board members, and Dr. Harrison. 2 gifts have been received. The first one, Alexander Wilson received a donation of $1,000 from their PTO, and the funds will be used for the math science program at the school. Second gift, we received a donation from Lanzex of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The funds will be used to buy new supplies and equipment for the chemistry lab at the school. As it stands now, the amount accumulated, total amount is going to be $40,850.50.
Is there a motion on the floor to accept these gifts?
So moved.
Thank you, Tony. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Patsy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Monroe.
You're welcome.
Okay, we are coming to board and superintendent comments, and if it's okay, I'm just going to start, and then we'll go to Patsy and Mark, and then come back this direction. First, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Harrison and to the staff. We certainly had some challenge last week with our snow. For those of you out riding the roads, we are grateful for your time, your effort, and your safety. And we also want to thank you for working diligently to provide a schedule for our students to complete exams in the high school and to certainly start a new semester. So I'd just like to say thank you so much, because I know that was a lot of tremendous work that was done. And once again, there was a lot of chatter on Facebook. Some of you may have seen about the calendar law once again. So I think some teachers are actually writing, and I hope our parents will do the same to give us more flexibility. Other than that, we did have lunch out at Sylvan Elementary today. It was a lot of fun. We learned that first graders and kindergartners are full of information. So Tony was there, Steve, Pam was actually there, and myself. So it was a lot of fun. We want to thank Sylvan for hosting us. Patsy, anything?
Nope, I was just going to make comments about the snow as well, so I think you've pretty much covered it, and just thank administration. I was so impressed to see parking lots as clean as they were, and the notifications seem to have come out earlier this year, which I appreciate, and just thank you, and let's get these exams over with so we can start the next semester.
Mark, do you have anything?
Just one thing, that tomorrow at Turrentine Middle School, there's going to be a career fair. About 60 people from the community will be there representing different types of jobs and vocations that students might be interested in, and 8th graders from Turrentine Middle School and 8th graders from Broadview will be there. I will be trying to convince them to become musicians. Hopefully their parents won't find out about that.
Is that 12 to 2?
12 to 2:30.
2:30, perfect, thank you. Tony, anything?
No, I'm good.
Steve, anything?
Just keep me in your thoughts and prayers just for the rest of this week. I'll be having surgery on my knee on Wednesday. Finally, we got snowed out twice, too.
We'll keep you in our thoughts and prayers and wish much success on that operation. Ryan?
I just, listening to that presentation made me think of how inspired I am with the tweeting of our teachers. We hear a lot about tweets these days, including from some of us up here on the dais. But if you flip on that app, you often see our teachers engaged in peer-to-peer professional development.
using social media and other tools like the formal teacher preparation program that we just heard a presentation about. But they're often engaged, like I said, peer-to-peer, offering best practices with one another, both locally as well as across the country and sometimes around the world. And it often inspires me and it gives me a recognition of how much our teachers are looking for professional development. They are looking to become experts in their craft. They're looking to hone what they can bring into the classroom and to be teacher leaders in their schools and their communities in a variety of ways. So I think your question about what does the phasing out of Gear Up funds mean for our system, I think you hit the nail right on the head, which is how do we continue to prioritize programs just like this in our budget. So I'm grateful for the presentation tonight. Thank you. And those that have since left for bringing that information. I think when you look at our first goal in our strategic plan of exemplary classroom teaching and instructional leadership, we have to start with our teachers. And everything that we do to recruit, retain, and develop our excellent teachers is at the forefront of this strategic plan. And I think it is the reason why it's goal number one. So I hope that we continue to find the policy, by the way, that we passed tonight in the consent agenda is another step on the HR side. So whether it is through local funding and our teacher salary supplement, professional development in formal and informal ways that can happen, or through our HR policies, I'm just glad we're trying to take every single tool at our disposal to try to recruit and retain excellent teachers here in ABSS. So that was on my mind as I was listening to that. Ms. Johnson, thank you so much for your comments earlier tonight representing ABAE and your thoughtful comments about the superintendent search. I think it's very safe to say in conversations that this board has had in public and in closed session that those are very much the same characteristics and qualities that we are looking for in our next superintendent. So thank you for your advocacy tonight as well. Also, one last thing, and then I'll finally be quiet, which is would encourage everyone to continue to follow the class size issue that our General Assembly continues to hopefully discuss, and more than that, hopefully takes up again. It is a well-intentioned effort by the General Assembly with the belief that lower class sizes are a good thing for learning. I think everybody across the spectrum thinks that is a good thing. But going about it in the way that they have is causing chaos in our budget cycles, and hopefully a more phased in, a more reasoned approach can take. So regardless of whether you believe that or not, you've got something to advocate for. So reach out to your folks out in Raleigh that represent you and the issues that you care about, and please continue to watch that one closely. There is no more salient issue that's been facing our system from the budget standpoint than that one. So hopefully a resolution can happen this spring.
Thank you. Dr. Harrison?
Since we've last met, we've continued to work as staff on bond package. We're tweaking that presentation a little bit. We'll share that with you with the work session. Actually, we'll try to get it to you before the work session so you can have some questions you might have. I had a conversation with a few of you about some things you would like to include in that, and we can make that happen. We're going to look about some of those dollars to be designated for roofs. We're going to be a little more clear about what the renovations are that will be taking place. Shannon, Todd, and I met with the county staff on Friday and talked about potential timeline and the projects, so they'll have a good sense of what we're doing and how they would need to draw the money down. Working with a few folks about putting together a campaign team. I think Jenny has been working on that. We've got some support from Impact Elements, and we'll begin gearing that up fairly soon.
Okay. Thank you. Brian, you have a motion for us?
I do. Make a motion we enter closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to preserve attorney-client privilege and 143-318 .11A6 to consider confidential personnel information protected under North Carolina General Statute 315 and 115C-321.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Great. At this time, we are now in closed session.
board members, Chair Gant and Dr. Harrison, we present to you the January 22nd personnel report and request your approval at this time.
Is there a motion to accept the personnel report as presented?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mark. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Great. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Patsy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.